Hello everyone, welcome or welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you clicked on this video knowing nothing about me, you should probably know two things, which is I have learning disabilities. I have dyslexia and dyscalculia, and I will probably be talking about them a bunch on this YouTube channel right here. But today's video is about going back to school. Now, some of you guys might be back to school already. I am personally not. I have maybe 12 days left or something. Whenever this video comes out, I'll probably be at the 10 mark countdown. Anyways, I'm going to be giving you some advice for going back to school with a learning disability. Some of this won't really be learning disability specific, but some of it will be. And if you end up seeing my eyeballs scanned this way, it's because I have a computer that details out what I'm going to tell you. So that's why I might be looking over here, just as a little heads up as well. I do want to mention my shirt. It says Minds of All Kinds, if you can read that. And it has a cute little neurodiversity infinity sign, rainbow colored. And I am just very excited about it. I'm happy to be wearing it finally. It was a birthday gift, so I'm feeling great. I'm feeling in the mood to film, so let's give you some advice, shall we? My first advice for you is you're gonna have to be your biggest advocate. And that can be a little bit nerve-wracking, especially if you don't really advocate a ton in your personal life. To do it at school is an even bigger weight that can be on your shoulders sometimes, but I promise you, you've got this, I've got this, we're going to be in the same boat together. But honestly, if you do not tell your teachers or the people around you that you're struggling, they're just going to look at you and assume that you're okay. Because if you have a learning disability, it's a hidden disability, meaning literally no one else around you can identify you as having a learning disability. It's just not something that comes with our cutesy little disability. So you're going to have to mention things like when you're struggling and what works for you in the classroom and what does not work for you in the classroom. Now, mentioning what works and what doesn't work can be written out, it can be typed out, it can be something you hand physically to your teacher to look at, or it can just be verbally mentioned. But keeping an open line of communication and advocating for yourself when things get tricky is something you're totally going to need to learn at some point in your life. And let's start now. Let's start now. It's a good decision, it's a good idea, and it will carry you on through it the rest of your life. So that's my first piece of advice. On that similar note, I also want to mention that goes with my same advice is if you have a case manager who looks after your IEP, you can mention to them if something is not working and they will help you help your teacher understand how to best support your needs. That's why they're there. And also the beginning month or two of the school year is really when your teachers need to learn how to follow your IEP or 504 plan if you have one of those properly. And if they aren't doing the correct job, then it's up to you to mention it or up to your case manager to mention it to them so you can get it all straightened out so you can have a successful first year, or not first year, just a successful year of school. My second piece of advice for you guys is your schedule might look different than your peers, and that is nothing to be ashamed of. These past 3 years of high school, I have had my closest friends take honors classes, and I haven't. Now, it's not always been the easiest. I will definitely just let you know that. But I never, ever told myself that I was less than them because I didn't have honors. My biggest thing that I want you to drill into your brain is honors and academic or college prep, they're all labels and just that. You don't need to carry a weight on them. The people in those classes have needs that are going to be met in those classes. My needs won't be met in those classes. I need a slower paced environment. I need less people in my classes. I need a teacher who is going to focus on me and just a couple other people if we have a lot of questions and things get really confusing. That is what I need. And in that honor space, I don't think that I would have found that the past 3 years. I mean, I have learning disabilities as well, and I'm not saying that if you have learning disabilities, you can't take an honors class, because I'm about to take one, but it's just a little bit harder, I think, for us to get through those honors classes without needing like a ton of extra support. So that's something I want to mention is like, if you have a schedule that is different from your peers, you might just have to find something else to talk about that doesn't really involve an honors class topic, because a lot of the time I was sitting at lunch and my peers or my friends would talk about honors classes and I could not relate to them. I hadn't taken one. So that was In those situations, I felt like a little bit on the sidelines, but you just have to know that they mean the best and they're supposed to be in those classes. I, at that time, was not supposed to be in those classes. Academic was where it was going to be a best fit for me, and it might be the best fit for you. My third piece of advice is you do not have to explain your why. Let me elaborate a second. Sometimes people ask you, why do you do things differently? They might ask, why do you have this accommodation? Or why do you leave the class to take tests? You don't have to explain why you do any of that to anyone you don't feel comfortable mentioning that to. Sometimes I'll just say a blanket statement of, it's an accommodation of mine. Period. I won't say why. I will just say it's an accommodation, and I hope that leaves them satisfied. A lot of people have curious minds, but it's not you who needs to feed those curious minds your own personal life story, you know? So they can find satisfaction elsewhere, but you are on your own timeline. You get to choose who gets to know about your learning disability or any difference in your life and who does not. So the only person you probably should know, though, is your teachers, and that's all. My fourth piece of advice is about, unfortunately, bullying. I've never really been bullied personally. When I was younger, I did experience some of that, but I am really thankful that my brain has blocked it out. But to those of you who might experience bullying or who have had experiences with bullying, just know that people are really ridiculous and they like to comment about things they know nothing about. So if you have a learning disability and someone makes a really dumb comment, try not to take it to heart because it's just their ignorance and insecurity showing you, and you're just going to see their true colors and kind of just distance yourself from them if you can. If it's really terrible or literally any bullying circumstance, definitely tell an adult just so they are aware of it and hopefully try to prevent further instances. But honestly, don't give it a second thought. It does not need to take up space in your brain. Try not to let the negativity just consume you. It can be hard. I totally understand that. But let's focus on the positive and focus on not being friends with them. My fifth piece of advice is to ask questions. It seems so simple, but it's definitely not, at least not for me. So let's do this school year. Us too. Let's try to work on it together. Feel free to ask in person or email if there's any workarounds that you can do to be a little bit less confused. Really just, again, keep an open line of communication when things go south and you are sitting there in class wondering what the heck is going on, get me out of here, because I've had those thoughts too. But asking questions will hopefully be a good thing, and help you out so you don't have to feel that confusion throughout the entire school year, and it can happen less and less and less. Sounds good? Sounds like a plan? I hope so. Two more pieces of advice that I want to mention in this video, and the first thing is talking about mistakes. Make sure that you understand that things are going to happen one way or another that are out of your control that you don't really like. And mistakes will probably happen constantly. I mean, we have learning disabilities. Maybe you don't, but I'm assuming that you might. And so people who have learning disabilities make mistakes constantly. People who are humans, which I assume, again, you're a human, make mistakes constantly. And sometimes it's just out of our control. But what is in your control is how you react to those situations. So hopefully you will stop beating yourself up in those situations. I mean, I have to take my own advice too. And just give yourself some grace and compassion and know that everything will be okay. It's not the end of the world, although it sometimes feels like it. And you can carry on knowing that you did your best. And now you just have to wipe the slate clean, I think is the saying, and start over. My last piece of advice, number 7, is try to figure out your strengths and your weaknesses and play them to your advantage. If you know that you are really good at communicating, then try a class project that has communicating in it. Or if you like videos, try a class project that has videos involved. Or C, ask your teacher if you can do something that's a class project that has a video format. Maybe you'll be the only one, but maybe it's worth a shot. So I know personally I really like working with Canva, the website. So if I ever had class projects that I had to do, I would go to Canva. I would type up templates for like a slideshow and utilize the templates that they had and make it all fun, So it was just like a balance of having fun, but also the school on top of it. It just meshed together nicely for myself. It might not be something you want, but just figure that out for you. Well, everyone, thank you so much for watching today's video. I really appreciate you sticking till the end. I hope you could take away some sort of advice from this video. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and comment down below anything. You can ask questions if you'd like. I will try my best to respond. I do have a learning disability account TikTok page, and it is called Jacquelyn_Elise, so go look at that. And then the last thing I want to mention is my website. It's called mindslikemine.com. It has my disability journey story on there if you're a little bit more curious about that side. And it's also linked up to my TikTok page as well. So yeah, it's just a lot of fun. And I hope that this was helpful. Like I said before, I'll see you on the next video. Bye, everyone.